Sunshine, everyone. Time now 6 o'clock here on your Thursday morning, your Friday Junior. Thank you for starting your day with us here on Sunrise. Jason Hackett and Lauren Lemanchek here with you, and you see the temperature, 66 degrees once again starting the morning, and it feels like it outside for sure.
We were just talking about carving pumpkins, putting up Halloween decorations. It feels a bit weird. Although, Mace, I am not going to complain because, as John has been reminding us, in a month there will be snow.
Oh, potentially. There could be, sure, in early parts of November. It feels more like, though, instead of flipping the calendar a couple of days ago to October, we should have flipped it back to August. If you look at the temperature this morning, 67 in the morning, that's pretty warm. That's typical of August and July weather. Humidity is low. That's one difference. When the dew point's in the 40s to 50 degrees, I mean, that's very refreshing air. So this is just warm air. It's not humid air. The wind is out of the southeast, only a few miles an hour. Temps right now, 60 statewide, 58 Rochester, Menominee for slightly cooler readings, if you want to say that. It's still well above average everywhere. There is a weak little wave passing through from close to International Falls down through central Minnesota and towards the Twin Cities. A sprinkle or two near Cottage Grove, Apple Valley, Inver Grove Heights, and maybe eventually over towards Hastings and Cannon Falls. It's very, very light, isolated. Again, nothing more than a sprinkle. Mid-80s and sun for later today, Cece.
Good morning. If you're just joining us, I've been tracking this crash in Plymouth on Highway 169 southbound, not too far from 36th Avenue. You see here the right lane is closed as you drive toward Highway 55, 394 in the St. Louis Park, Minneapolis area. And we're seeing that it's causing a pretty big backup as you make your way towards those areas. So say you're driving from New Hope and you want to get to St. Louis Park or Minneapolis, you can stay on highway. If you're leaving right away, you could leave out the door 10 to 12 minutes earlier than you normally would, or you can hop off highway, take Winnetka Avenue to get to where you need to go. Either way you choose, you will have to, maneuver and avoid traffic and everything like that. I'll make sure to tell you when that crash clears. If we take a look at the bigger map here, that's the only spot where I'm seeing stop and go traffic. Everywhere else is pretty quiet this morning. Lauren.
Cece, thank you. We are live from the U.S. Capitol this morning as the government remains shut down for a second straight day. Lawmakers do plan to meet in just a few hours, but there's no chance the shutdown will end today.
And Michelle Beck is at the live desk to tell us why and what could happen today to a lot of federal workers. Michelle.
Well, guys, while lawmakers will be in Washington this morning, they will not be voting due to Yom Kippur. The next votes will be tomorrow. This comes as federal workers are bracing for mass layoffs, which could start as soon as today. The timeline is coming from Trump's budget director in a conference call with GOP leaders. The White House, though, isn't saying specifics like who or how much of the federal workforce will be cut, as the Senate again last night failed to pass the critical funding bills that would reopen the government. Democrats say the looming layoffs will be targeted at programs Republicans don't like.
Targeting the clean energy economy. Republicans have been doing that since January 20th. And assaulted the clean energy economy and the creation of good-paying American jobs in their one big, ugly bill.
Unfortunately, because the Democrats shut down the government, the president has directed his cabinet, and the Office of Management and Budget is working with agencies across the board to identify where cuts can be made, and we believe that layoffs are imminent. They are, unfortunately, a consequence of this government shutdown.
And besides layoffs, we also have to talk about furloughs. Estimates show 750,000 federal workers could be furloughed each day of a shutdown. And specifically, the TSA got back to me saying about 5% of its employees will be furloughed, possibly leading to longer wait times at airports. Interesting to note, the TSA is using similar messaging as others in the Trump administration, blaming left-wing politicians for the shutdown in their statement to me. Guys, more details on that coming up in the next half hour. Jason.
Potentially a tough few days or even weeks for these workers here. Michelle, thank you. We're keeping an eye on Wall Street this morning. The future is looking better than yesterday at this time, but still expecting a mixed open. The markets closed higher across the major indexes yesterday as traders bet on a brief shutdown. But the longer it lasts, the harder it will be for the Federal Reserve to assess what's happening with the economy. Upcoming readings on jobs, inflation, and GDP will be on hold, which will impact conversations at their meeting to set interest rates later this month.
Some federal workers in Minnesota are concerned they might not have a job to come back to once the shutdown is over. Union leaders with the American Federation of Government Employees have filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration to try to prevent these mass layoffs from happening. Minnesota farmers also say they're concerned about the timing.
The shutdown comes as farmers begin to harvest. They need to know now they can count on not only USDA, but other agencies. The last thing we need now is uncertainty. We have enough uncertainty due to the tariffs.
Another concern is the status of food benefits, specifically SNAP and WIC. Right now, the government says they do have enough money to fund those benefits through October. But if the shutdown lasts over a month, they'll have to look into other options for funding those.
We're following breaking news from overnight in New York. 2 Delta planes operated by Endeavor Air colliding at LaGuardia Airport just hours ago, stranding dozens of passengers. Take a look at this picture here. You can see the front of one plane with some damage. Officials say the wing of a plane heading to Virginia hit the cockpit window of a plane arriving from North Carolina. This all happened just before 9 p.m. our time on the taxiway. A flight attendant was taken to the hospital, but they are expected to be okay. The passengers were put in hotel rooms and offered to rebook their flights for today.
New developments this morning in White Bear Lake, where a 22-year-old man allegedly enrolled in high school and pretended to be a 17-year-old student. Audrey Russo is joining us from the newsroom now. And Audrey, a state rep is now calling for the district superintendent to resign.
Yeah, that's right. State Representative Elliot Engen calls this a catastrophic lapse in the enrollment vetting process, to the point where lawmakers plan to discuss safety protocols at the Capitol. White Bear Lake police tell us they're pursuing violations against the 22-year-old related to fraud, forgery, and unlawful interactions with minors. Police also say this person is in custody, but it's on charges unrelated to this case. We've reached out to White Bear Lake School District multiple times, but a spokesperson says there's no information the superintendent can share at this time. While Representative Engen wants the superintendent to resign, others who also represent White Bear Lake say it's too early to point fingers.
The person who fraudulently enrolled as an adult in a school for children is responsible for this. Now, how they went about it, that's something for myself and other leaders in the community to tackle.
This comes down to failed leadership on the part of Wayne Kazmarchak, and there should be ramifications for that.
Now, the school district said the 22-year-old used faked documents in order to enroll. In 30 minutes, I'll have more on the 3 main documents the district says are needed in order to start at a new school. Back to you.
All right, Audrey, thank you. We'll talk to you soon. A Minneapolis man faces murder charges this morning for a deadly shooting inside of Loring Towers. According to prosecutors, 51-year-old Robert Warren ambushed 2 men from behind and shot them last weekend inside the high-rise. According to the medical examiner, the victims were hit in the neck. Prosecutors also say the shooting stemmed from an earlier fight. Warren wasn't supposed to have firearms because of previous convictions.
Right now, Minnesota health officials are warning about an increase in measles cases. Just this week, MDH says there's been 10 new cases, and that brings the total number of cases across the state this year to 18. The newest cases were all reported in the Twin Cities metro area, tied to either domestic or international travel. Health officials say all of these new cases are among unvaccinated people, so they are urging families to ensure they're up to date on immunizations, especially ahead of travel.